Novel Tea with S&B is a show about two sisters-in-law who share their love of books and tea.
Sometimes they read together, sometimes not. Sometimes horror, but mostly smut.
They review and recommend the books they've read and chat about other fun topics too.
Don't worry, they won't spoil anything, and if they do, they'll warn you.
Also be warned, this show is not for kids, or for anyone who might be offended by horror or sex talk, or both.
Looking at you, Mom.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Novel Tea with S&B, the book club with a podcast. I'm your co-host, Beck.
And I'm Stephanie.
This is our June wrapped episode where we dive into the pages of our latest reads and share our thoughts on the stories that captivated us. This month, we've explored a diverse range of genres and authors, each bringing their unique voice to the literary world.
What do our listeners have to look forward to in this installment?
On my end, it's Stealing Lady by D.B. Leigh, A Psalm for the Wild-Built, and A Prayer for the Crown Shy, both by Becky Chambers, Ghostwall by Sarah Maas, Crown of Midnight, and Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, and Night's Edge by Liz Karen. What about you?
That was a lot. I also read Stealing Lady by D.B. Leigh and Ghostwall by Sarah Maas. I read A Court of Wings in Ruin and A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. And On a Clear Day, You Can See Block Island by Gage Greenwood.
I'm really excited to hear about that one because that one captivated you for a little bit.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
So let's start with our gifted title, which is Stealing Lady by D.B. Leigh. It is 240 pages. She was nice enough to send it our way, which we much appreciate.
Yes, always. You want me to read the summary?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I'll read it. When the daughter of a billionaire falls for a handsome stranger from the wrong side of the tracks, the temptation of the forbidden romance tugs at Lady Ives' heart. She yearns for a taste of freedom beyond her father's powerful reign. The oppressive hold that Harlow has over the city emanates from a sinister, dark place. Lady, desperate to break free from her suffocating bodyguards, devises a plan to escape to the ocean. As she stands on the sandy shore, the salty breeze caresses her face, carrying with it a sense of liberation. The crashing waves beckon her, tempting her to imagine the exhilaration of true freedom. And this moment of vulnerability, Baxter, captivated by Lady's shattered beauty, seizes the opportunity to steal her heart. Together, they embark on a daring journey to elude the relentless protection detail, delving deeper into a web of treachery and deception that will forever alter Lady's life. Although the life she wanted was starting to thread together with Baxter, another romance of possessive passion blossoms within her and Stellan, her bodyguard. The conflict of which man holds her heart will be tested. Within the dark confines of a passionate yet forbidden romance, truths will unfold, love blossoms amidst the shadowy secrets that surround them, an unexpected plot expand with every turn. Brace yourself for a gripping tale of desire, danger, and unforeseen twists that will leave you breathless.
Okay, so for me, this one worked a lot better than Hollow Misfits. I felt a little more connected to the characters, the chapters. I understood the motives more, I would say, with these characters as far as what they were doing and why. And they all seem to have like independent personalities from each other.
Yes.
Not a huge fan of the insta love trope, but like she knew the guy for like 10 minutes. There's certainly like a market out there for it. I'm sure many people do enjoy it. And also, definitely take a quick look at that trigger page because she does 100% warn us what's going to happen. Yeah,
there's some triggers. So I thought it was a fun, exciting book for the summer. You made a TikTok with you like sitting poolside with the book.
Yeah.
And that was just so perfect for it. I think it's like a fun summer read. It is a dark romance, so my idea of fun is a little different than most. With the beach and just the vibe.
Right, yes.
It's summer book. So it does have a plot, which is nice. Not really a fan of like pure smut. It's smutty. Like I'm not saying there isn't smut, but there's plot there too. The insta love thing also isn't my favorite. I'm more of a slow burn build up girl because the payoff. But there, like when you're reading the book, you know there's been tension between her and her bodyguard for a while.
Yeah.
You just don't get that. Like, it explains that they've known each other and that there's been tension there, but like you don't read too much into that past. So yeah, it's very quick with the other guy though. So anyways,
yes.
so yeah, I also see that she was very sheltered, and so her idea of love, maybe skewed a bit because of that.
That's a fair point.
Kind of what I was thinking. I hated her father, obviously. Oh, father.
Yeah, dude.
And seeing the things, like, yeah, he, like, it's weird because he's super abusive, and you get his POV with certain chapters, which is wild because I don't think I've ever read a book where, like, I'm reading the POV of, like, a very bad person.
Abuser, yeah.
An abuser. Yeah, so that was different and interesting new take that I haven't seen yet. So I just love that DV, like, she takes risks and she's exploring such a wide array of genres. I personally am a fan of her fantasy. When her Grimwell Legacies one is so good. But she just tries new things and she's not scared of exploring different genres. Thanks again for sending us those gift boxes. We're super excited.
Why not?
She like wrapped presents if you didn't see her like unboxing, and there's dates on them. So we have to like wait till like these certain dates, and we're of course going to make videos of us opening in those because it's super exciting. So thanks again, DB.
Yeah, I'm so tempted to just like rip it open, or like,
it's hard.
Christmas presents where you're like just the corner.
Just a little peek.
Just a little peek. But I won't.
I know.
But I want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as far as like rating, I wanted to get into or try something a little different on this episode. I don't know how well it'll work going forward, but I'll get into it in my next book too. But I think I don't necessarily want to put a star rating on things this time around, just because I've had my qualms with star ratings before, as most of our listeners know at this point. I feel like it's just so subjective, and I always balance my star rating against the other books I've read that month, and I don't think that's necessarily fair for, like, example, this one, because it's not that it's not good, it's just that I read Kingdom Mash this month around. So
series that you're super invested in the story and characters, and it's different. Yeah.
And it's I think personally it's the recommendation that really matters the most. Right. So like I'm not So I would 100% recommend this book to contemporary romance readers. There is spice. It's like a step below, I would say, porn with plot. It's not quite just porn. It's up there, and I think that as our friend Dee, we're friends at this point. It is important for me personally to celebrate her work and support her like whenever I possibly can.
Absolutely. I'm rating them still.
No, that's fine.
I like keeping track of my ratings, and we've discussed this in the past. Like, I've looked back and have changed, like, oh my gosh, I should have given that more because I'm thinking about it still, or I actually kind of forgot about this book. Maybe I should have. So I just kind of like to look back and compare and contrast my ratings. I guess I don't have to air them, but I'm just so used to doing it that I'm
yeah. Even if like one of us does it, it's fine.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, if any of our viewers would rather not hear a star rating, then let me know, and I can just give you my recommendation. But I would recommend this if you enjoy a smutty, like, dark romance. There is plot there, and it's pretty interesting where it goes. I don't want to give anything away, but yeah. No. I gave it 3 stars, 4 spice, and 2 eye rolls, because
yes.
Yeah, it just sometimes lady was driving me nuts, but yeah. No, but thank you so much, DV. We really we
really do. Yes.
Yeah, it was a good read.
I think I read it in like 2 days. So yeah.
I read it really quick too. Yeah, it was good. It was really good. So thank you. All right. So let's get started with you. What did you
I started this month with the Monk and Robot series. I touched on it a little bit when we did our last Thirsty episode. It includes a Psalm for the Wild Built and a Prayer for the Crown Shy. It is by Becky Chambers. It is on the sci-fi spectrum. It is 312 total pages, and I got it on Libby. I was able to borrow both titles on Libby, which is fantastic.
nice.
Also, this came recommended from friend and listener Lauren, who I was very excited to see when I was in Rapid when I was visiting. Yeah, so excited to see her. Hi.
So cool.
Hello. And then Libby tells me that I finished A Song for the Wild Built on June 1st, and I think I read that actually in just one day, so June 1st. And then I finished a Prior for the Crown Shy on June 16th. Yeah, plot summary, your Milo in the back. It's been centuries since the robots of Panga gained self-awareness and laid down their tools. Centuries since they wandered en masse into the wilderness, never to be seen again. Centuries since they faded into myth and urban legend. One day, the life of T-Monk is upended by the arrival of a robot, there to honor the old promise of checking in. The robot cannot go back until the question of what do people need is answered. But the answer to that question depends on who you ask and how. So they're going to need to ask it a lot. I was very taken by this book. It is so incredibly gentle and contemplative. These robots use their gained self-awareness not to rush and do and have purpose, but to be and observe. So that was just, it was what I needed. Song for the Wild Built celebrates life's simple pleasures like the tranquility of nature, enjoying a cup of tea, and the satisfaction of preparing a meal. A lot of the times, these things can be overlooked by how rushed we are all the time, and it really is a reminder of how to slow down sometimes. And it also taught me that we don't need a grand purpose. Simply being is enough.
Ooh, I like that.
I know, dude.
Wow.
It calmed me down quite a bit. Okay, so I still read a lot in June, but that's because I was on vacation and I had time and all of that fun stuff. It really has kind of, what do you call it? What is that word? Oh my God. Inspired me to, just slow down a little bit. And it doesn't matter how much books I read as much as am I actually enjoying the books I'm reading? Is this, curating a list of books that actually reflect who I am, kind of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. That's awesome.
It was very sweet too. Dex and the robot are just I just really liked their banter and back and forth and the introspection of nature and all of that. So yeah, read it. I think you should read it too. You, Stephanie.
Yeah. No, I want to. It sounds really good.
And if you have a lull in reading or you feel like you just need a break, I would 100% pick this up.
Are you gonna buy it? Is it gonna be on your shelf? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like it did a lot.
It did.
Yeah.
It is not on Kindle Unlimited, I should say, but yes, it did affect me quite. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always amazing when a book can do that to you. So
yes,
that's awesome.
What did you start off with this month? Calm and contemplative.
No, not at all. I started off. I was finishing up Court of
Wings and Ruin.
Wings and Ruin. I wanted to say War because I'm looking at Aquawar. War. Frost and Starlight. So I started Aquawar May 27th and finished June 5th, and then that was 703 pages. And then I started Fast June 14th and finished June 19th. And that's only 232 pages. And the whole series I purchased on Kindle, so they were read on my Kindle. So for the summary, I don't want to give out spoilers, so I'm not going to dive into the summary. My reviews will be very vague. So if you are craving a deep dive into all things ACOTAR, join us for our next Thirsty episode, Oops All ACOTAR. It will be on YouTube and Spotify and all the platforms July 18th, and we are going to just be going off about it. That's going to be
all of it.
The whole episode is just talking about all the books and all the things and theories, and I'm so excited. It's going to be so fun. So, I'm very excited too. Yeah. I'm reading the last one right now, Court of Silver Flames, and yeah, it'll be done. But
it'll be done.
I'm almost done with it. I've been flying through it. It's so good. But so for my very big spoiler-free review. Some things I could see coming, but never in a bad way. In a way that makes the suspense in this book almost too much. I couldn't read it fast enough. I got a lot of emotions reading it. I really did enjoy it. All the characters are so well developed, and I feel like I know them at this point. Like I do. I know them. They're people. But I love that. I love that. Like I've spent so much time. I'm a slow reader, and because I've spent so much time for months now, like reading about them, they're just like a part of me now, and it's just so neat and cool to have that. Some big surprises and a close call that almost wrecked me. We'll get into that later. I will say one thing, and I'm not going to mention names or anything, but there was a scene where they were having sex, and it was after like a battle, and so there's like people screaming in agony while they're. I did not like that. And it was weird for those characters for that to even be a thing, and I almost wish it wasn't in there. Like you could have taken that, and it's just a bit, like it's just a little bit that I feel could have been removed.
I agree with you.
It actually knocked down my
rating
to me, yeah, because I gave Mist and Fury that was 5 stars, right? And this one, I don't know if it would have been 5 stars. It was going to be very close, 4.5, but I gave it a 4, and that actually has a lot to do with it. That one little thing, I just didn't like it. But anyways, we'll get into that.
But the mountains trembled.
It was horrible. We'll get into that. We'll get into that on our next Thirsty, and we can talk about that a little bit more. Not much to really say on Starlight. It's not bad. It was like a fun little in between. It did help with the transition of the writing style, POVs, stuff like that, because it goes from like, the different characters that you're following. There was a bit of foreshadowing in it, a little tiny some things I saw, and I'm like, huh, and then it happened, and I'm like, okay, because it was mentioned. That's all I'll say. I did enjoy it.
Guess what?
Huh?
Feyre is the only person to be written in the first person. Even in Throne of Glass, it's in the third person. So that's also very interesting.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
No, that does make sense.
A little speculative there.
That
we can get into in the next episode.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to have to take so many notes for next episode.
So many notes. I'm going to re-listen to them. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, recommendation. Yeah. Yes. Read it. It has been so worth it. And I'm already like dreading saying goodbye to these characters in this world. And the last book hasn't even been released. And I'm already like sad. So
I know, dude.
Like, read it. It's so good. Akawar, 4 stars, 3 spice, 2 eye rolls for war sex and vulgar gestures, because there's so many vulgar gestures.
So many.
Echo Fast, I gave it 3.5 stars. It's not bad. It's just not as epic as the rest of the.
Yeah, from what I heard, it was yeah,
in between transition. Hey, we're moving on to this kind of thing, but there's still some fun in it. It's fun. I mean, like I said, when you're so connected to these characters, it's like fun to just read, their daily whatever. 2 spice and 1 eye roll. I'm so excited for Thirsty Oops All Actar. It's gonna be super fun.
I know. Yeah. So fun.
So looks like we're staying on the topic of Sarah J. Maas with your next read.
Sure. I finished the Throne of Glass series. So I read Empire of Storms and Kingdom of Ash. You will notice here that Tower of Dawn is missing because I just could not get myself to read an entire book on Kale. No Selena whatsoever in that book. Oh. And you know what? I didn't notice a difference. Like, as soon as I got to what is it called? Kingdom of Ash, I really I didn't notice that I missed anything, to be honest with you. And much like you, I am not going to go into the plot summary because it literally book 1 and 2, if I say anything else, it's going to be a spoiler. So sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
But I don't think I will ever emotionally recover from Throne of Glass. And maybe that's why I had to take a calm break. Because The final 4 hours of listening, Kingdom of Ash was 25 hours long, by the way.
Oh.
Had me wrecked. Like, I had to hide my face on the plane and keep tears from falling on the drive home because I was just like, and again, I can't go into more detail than the first book, but it is deeper, darker, and far more exciting as the books go. And like with a little more spice as well. They are, once you hit, I would say around midnight, it is no longer young adult. It's definitely new adult or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But yeah, like again, Tower of Yawn, which I got a chapter in and I just couldn't do it. But you can also tell that her writing style vastly improved from book to book. Like the last 2-3 books definitely feel more like ACOTAR, like within her writing style than, you know, the first couple of books, because
She was super young, right?
Yeah, she was like 16, 17 when she wrote the first books. And like her ability to tie together threads is just amazing. Like there's things that I didn't even remember happened. And then I'm like, yeah, shit. That's right. Okay. Well, that loose end is, you know, tied up. Great.
Yeah.
And then you would get like another 30, 40 minutes in and it'd be like,
Oh, man.
But yeah.
Sounds good.
Dude, I realize that Throne of Glass is like a huge hurdle, but it is so worth the investment. It could be like an HBO series if they did it right. But again, okay, so I don't want like typical actors to play these people.
I keep seeing these like AI generated things, and I'm like, if we could just make it animated,
right? Please don't ruin it for me.
No, I don't want it tied with like Brad Pitt or some bullshit. No. I guess if they picked a bunch of like, I don't know. It's just, I would almost wish because I don't want to tie them to a person that I'm going to see, I don't know, like in another movie, and then it's going to ruin it. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe if they did it right.
I would also say like CGI can do a lot, but I don't think it could fully encapsulate what all of these beasts and creatures are as much as like maybe an animated series would.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like even the surreal. This is back to ACOTAR, but how would you anyway? Yeah,
I don't know.
I think
you do need to do the serial justice, okay?
You do, yes.
I love
everybody. Yeah. Our bestie.
Yes.
I do think I am still an ACOTAR girly, like through and through, but Throne of Glass is very close. But I think, you know, ACOTAR is just, you know, Farah has my heart.
Yeah, I do plan on reading Throne of Glass, but it's going to take me a while because I am going to like read in between books and this and that. That's going to take me a minute, but I do want to read it. And I even want to read Crescent City, even though it seems like I'm seeing a lot more mixed stuff on that series, but I'll probably just still read it because
it's Sarah J. Maas.
I don't think anything she writes is going to be terrible.
Oh,
it just might not be her style, but I don't see it because even the parts of these, like ACOTAR, because that's all I have to compare it to. People are like, this part is boring. I have not been bored at all. Maybe I'll enjoy. No,
I think it's because we have read some boring ass books.
Yeah,
we know what true boredom is.
I mean, if I like the characters, I'm into the world building and how everything works and learning more about them. I mean, that's interesting to me. You know, I don't know. I don't need like.
I think maybe those people are just like looking for
like, where I'm like, oh, this is nice. I don't know. Anyways,
how do the flowers bloom? No.
Yeah. So I'm excited for Throne of Glass. So that I've been very interested in that.
Yeah. Well, I've been talking about it for 3 months, so
I know. Now I'm intrigued. It'll probably take me like a year to finish it, but that's okay. I want that because then I can draw it out. Because then I don't want to finish it quick. I'm already sad about ACOTAR, and it's like
not even done yet.
No, but so next is our book club book. By Maas, folk horror, 146 pages. I bought mine on you bought yours on your Kindle as well, right? I bought mine on my Kindle. Yeah.
And boy, didn't those 146 pages feel long. Mm-hmm. Ghostwall is in the north of England, far from intrusions of cities, but not far from civilization. Sylvie and her family are living as if they are ancient Britons, surviving by the tools and knowledge of the Iron Age. For 2 weeks, the length of her father's vacation, they join an anthropology course set to reenact life in simpler times. They are surrounded by forests of birch and rowan. They make stew and forage fruits and hunted rabbits. The students are fulfilling their coursework. Sylvie's father is fulfilling his lifelong obsession. He has raised her on stories of early men, taking her to witness rare artifacts, recounting time and again their rituals and their beliefs, particularly their sacrifices to the bog. Mixing with the students, Sylvia begins to see, hear, and imagine another kind of life, one that might include going to university, traveling beyond England, choosing her own clothes and food, and speaking her mind. The ancient Britons built ghost walls to ward off enemy invaders, rude barricades of stakes topped with ancestral skulls. When the group builds one of their own, they find spiritual connection to the past. What comes next but human sacrifice? My God, that took me a little while, but
it's okay.
I think it's because, so what jumbled me up there is that the ghost wall only took place in the last 20 pages?
Yeah, it really did.
I think that's why I was like, wait, what?
What? This book was a letdown, and I'm so sad because reading that synopsis, it sounds right up my alley. Like, it's amazing. Thought I was gonna enjoy it, and I didn't. And for me, like, the writing style was very odd and hard for me to follow. There was never really any distinction between like who was talking. Like, it would say after, like, I don't know, we're going to the forest.
Well, there was no quotation marks.
Yeah, and it'd be like, we're going to the forest, said Dan, or whatever, right?
I don't remember.
Whatever.
Yeah.
No. And I'm just like, okay, if you saw it, you would understand. Like, it was really hard to follow. No separation in paragraphs, no quotations, no nothing. I had a hard time distinguishing, like, who was saying what, but you had said it was more probably like we were, I don't know, I don't want to, like, put words in your mouth, but did you say it was, like, kind of like her internal monologue we were following?
Yeah, it was like a stream of consciousness almost, like.
There it is. Yeah. And that did make sense. I really couldn't follow it at first. I did get used to it, I will say. Like, the more I read it, the more I kind of, like, it became easier for me to follow. Like, I just got used to the writing style. It's so weird because this book was so interesting and so boring at the same time.
I know, dude.
How does that happen? Like, I don't, like, it was both. It was, like, interesting, seeing how they're, like, living and everything she's going through. But at the same time, I'm, like, bored. I don't know. It was just weird. That. To me, I really hated the ending. Oof, I hated it. It was a lot of build up and then a very, like, anticlimactic ending. I was like, oh yeah.
I'm gonna bring that up too.
Yeah, I was just like, so I feel like also, you know how, like, a book, when it's written, it's typically like introduction, rising action, climax, falling action, conclusion, right?
Yeah.
That's a book. And was there, like, a real big climax to the book? No, like, not in my opinion. It just kind of ends. Oh, yeah. Bullshit. And then you're like, oh. So it's like rising action.
Guess that's done.
Yeah. It was like rising action, conclusion. I'm like, that's it. Okay. And I knew because I'm getting close towards the end and I'm like,
you see that percentage at the bottom?
I'm like, how is this going to happen? With all that, I did feel for Sylvie. I really did.
Yes.
I wasn't able to, like, connect with her necessarily because of this. There was so much going on with how it was written. I was having a hard time, but I did feel for her. Like, I did. And her father was horrible and her mother was your typical, like, shithole bystander. You know, I don't have any sympathy for someone who watches it happen and never intervenes.
No, yeah.
Yeah, that's just, you're just as bad, in my opinion. The whole book, though, overall, to me, was very mediocre and nothing really stood out.
You know, I was very excited because, as a Hosier enthusiast, the idea of, like, bog bodies is very interesting and, like, how they, like, created and all of that. And then this was kind of just like, but, that's it.
Yeah.
But the last book I'm going to talk about has some interesting parallels with this book. It's like the loner kid with poor social skills and sapphic tendencies, but where this book let me down, that book kind of gave me what I was looking for. as far as like the spooks and the, the tension and all of that. But and then like while I was reading this book, all I could think about is the Bob's Burgers Halloween episode, Apple Orchard, but not gory. This wasn't gory either.
Yeah, no.
But long story short, there's like these pagan recreationists in an apple orchard, and things seem really scary, but then they end up not being scary. So the parallels were very interesting. And then I'm going to put the spoiler here in case you did not read this book with us, but the ending really threw me off. Like, she may or may not have been sexually assaulted during the thing. Like, that was the climax or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the author decides to tell us how Sylvie, really, who is a minor, by the way, and who is attracted to women, which is not the problem here, but she finds comfort in the soft legs of an adult who is taking care of her. Like that.
I don't know.
And like talking about how like neither of them are wearing bras. It's like, dude,
yeah.
What the fuck?
I was just like, Pop showed up and I'm like, oh. What?
Yeah.
I don't know. The whole thing was just, and then it was over.
And then it was over. And then you're like, that's, I guess, 4 hours of reading and not getting back.
Dude, it took me forever to read this. Let me see. Did I write how? I don't think I did. It took me a long time for 146 pages. It took me like several days. I just couldn't. But so for my rating and recommendation, I'd say no. In my opinion, there's better things out there. I thought it was a great idea with just not very good execution, in my opinion. I did give it 2.5 stars. I did feel for Sylvie, so the fact that I felt something means something, and I finished it. So 2.5 stars. There's like really no spice in it. There's a couple of like
weird,
things, but I said 0.5. I don't know. What would you give it?
Yeah, probably 0.5. There's a lot of
it's not really like spice. Yeah, it's like it didn't really roll my eyes at anything, but I did yawn. So I'm going to give it 3 yawns.
3 yawns. Perfect. I'm going to agree with you. I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly. I would recommend my last book of today's episode over this one if you're looking for something that gives you that like coming of age, spooky stuff.
That's kind of what I have coming up.
Yeah.
I know. I was able to squeeze in or not that because that really wasn't, but real horror. No, this month, as I always try to do. So I read a long title. On a Clear Day, You Can See Block Island, and it's by Gage at Greenwood. Horror mystery. There's mystery in it. I started it June 9th, finished June 14th, and 274 pages, and it is on Kindle Unlimited. So yeah. So the summary is: they left the island, but the island never left them. 4 years after the Keating family endured the darkest experiences of their lives, the children are all fighting to move on. Charlie's anxiety has control of his life. Angela is afraid of the dark. Ryan suffers from a drug addiction. Chrissy struggles to remember what happened to them, the details forever haunting the outskirts of her mind. But when new information comes to light about what they had witnessed, they make a plan to escape their problems once and for all. Sometimes the only way to confront your demons is to face them head on. So the Keating siblings decide to go back to the island and call their monsters out of the darkness. They soon realize the terror awaiting is much more than they bargained for. On a Clear Day, You Can See Block Island is a coming-of-age horror novel about grief, PTSD, and how some horrors never end. So, the first chapter of this fucking book is insane. You're like reading it, and I'm like, okay, oh my god, and then my god, and then that's it. The first chapter. No, not the book, that's it. Just like it's just freaking like it was so insane. The first chapter is just that's the most brilliant thing. It just, if you're like one of those people who likes to be like sucked in immediately, like this is it. I think I'll be thinking of this book whenever I hear the words or see the words "Welcome Home" now, and it'll give me the creepies forever. I was just like, holy shit, this is wild. It was so good. Then after that, you fast forward 4 years to their current life. So that's what happened, the thing. I don't want to give it away. And then now you're present day, right? 4 years later. And with them in their current life and all their struggles that they have due to what they witnessed that day on Block Islands. I believe this book does write grief and PTSD very well. Everyone like deals with trauma differently, and it really does showcase that with this family. They all kind of have their own ways of dealing with it. None of them are particularly healthy, but after what they've been through, I don't think there is a healthy way to deal with what they went through.
Right, yeah.
I like the mystery of Block Island and the monster scenes. There's a monster. He gave me the creepy creepies, which I loved. One thing about this book is there is a mention of Operation Ivy, which made me so happy because that's like a band I grew up loving and not a band you hear a lot about. I see all these like things on like TikTok and it's like songs in the 90s, and my stuff I listen to is never on there. So I was super excited. So I had to give a little shout out, like adding Operation Ivy in there. Like that was awesome. But anyways, there were some things I wasn't a fan of. So I didn't like the treatment of Angela. She was kind of shut out from the family and treated like shit, and I don't really get why. I mean, it was brought up and quote unquote explained, but I didn't like it. I felt for her. I felt for all of them, but her the most because she just kind of got
fucked up.
Yeah, and just everyone had someone pretty much except her, and I kind of feel bad. I don't get why, like why. But my only other issue is like the ending, and it's not that it's like bad. It was just like when you're watching a movie, and then there's the twist, and it shows like flashes of the things that happen, all the foreshadowing that brings you to this moment, right? It's like, oh, I didn't even notice all that was happening, right? Or all that was leading to this, whatever. So for a movie, it works really well, but for a book, it was weird because it did the same thing. It was like, I don't want to give anything away. It goes through the sequence of things that led to this point in like flashes. So you're like in the person's mind and like they see this and this and this, and it's all the things that happen, and it's letting you know like this is where we are. It's kind of hard to explain. To me, it was weird in a book. I was trying to think of a way to explain this and I can't, but it's just like a litany of back-to-back flashes of the aha moment. Really difficult to explain, but that's how like the twists, if you will, and what's going on is all kind of revealed. For me, just like here's all the things. The book just doesn't do it for me. For me personally, but it's not a bad book. It was just that was weird.
If anything, that made me like more curious to read it, to be honest.
Yeah. It's not a bad book. Like read it for sure. I would recommend it. The ending is just like a weird thing I have, and like I don't know. That's going to be a very like subjective thing because some people probably will love that, and I just personally wasn't a fan. It is a horror, and it does deal with grief and loss. If you have triggers, keep that in mind. Of course, what they went through is not something that I doubt, unless
anybody,
there's monsters in your world. But it's still what they're going through is very real and relatable if you've ever dealt with loss, especially sudden loss. So keep that in mind if you have triggers. That is in there. Overall, I gave it a solid 3 stars. 3.5. It was pretty good. There's no spice in it, and I'll just say 2 eye rolls because I will say these don't bother me, but I know they probably bother a lot of people. Is with like horror comes corny one-liners. Yeah, like the monster's coming and blah blah blah. Like they say something stupid. Yeah, that's in here.
Like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, right. But like that happens in these kind of I think it's just to like throw in some like cheesy humor in there just to break up the so I don't know.
Right.
It doesn't bother me. If that bothers you, then it's there. But it's not like crazy amount of it. It's just, here and there you're like, oh God. And you roll your eyes.
And you roll your eyes and then you go on.
So yeah, check it out. He responded to I posted a thing that it was my current reading. Gage Greenwood responded and he wants to listen to this episode. So if you are listening, we really enjoyed your book and hi. And we fangirl over authors, so
we sure do.
Don't mind us, but I'll definitely look into more of your books. I enjoyed it a lot.
That's it. So the final book that I read this month, it was also something that I kind of just squeezed in. I didn't mean to, but I figured I might as well dive into it because I had it. It is Night's Edge. It's by Liz Karen. It is 288 pages. It is horror/vampire. Fun fact, Tor Nightfire is the publisher, which also publishes
right?
T. Kingfisher.
Oh, yeah.
And Brahm.
Yeah.
So that was a fun fact that I figured out. It was a blind date with a book that I picked up from Mitzi's Books in Rapid, but it is also on Kindle Unlimited, so if you are so inclined to pick it up, it is there.
That place looks so cute, by the way.
Hey, I love it. It's my favorite bookstore of all time.
You're cute.
Yeah. Anyway, a mom like Izzy meant Mia had to grow up fast. No extracurriculars, no inviting friends over, and definitely no dating. The most important, tell no one of Izzy's hunger. The kind only blood can satisfy. But Mia is in her 20s now and longs for a life of her own. One where she doesn't have to worry about anyone discovering their terrible secret or breathing down her neck. When Mia meets a rebellious musician Gage, she dares to hope she's found a way to leave her home and mom behind. It just might be Mia's only chance getting out alive. So this is an incredible idea. It's not a typical vampire story in the idea of like, they've been around for centuries. They're like this Victorian shut-ins and all of that fun stuff. Like it's a disease or like a infection that you get. It's called the Sara something. So it's like something that it's almost like pandemic, like where people have to like scan in to get into like bookstores and bars and Starbucks and all of that. Like you have to put a blood drop in to make sure that you don't have this infection. So that's really cool. Like it was a really unique spin. And then another thing that I thought was very unique is that it jumps from each chapter is between 2010 and now. So, the first chapter you get is now, and then the next one is back in 2010, then it goes back to now, and then 2010. So like 2010 is when she was first infected, and then now is how they're dealing with this infection. So you get like the story of how they got to be where they are, but it helps breaking it up because then you like get more detail of how this has been going on so long or how they have managed their daily lives and how Mia is so fucked up. Because she's been dealing with her mother being a vampire basically since she was 10 and how to manage parents that can only come out at night, has this hunger for blood, and you really do have to grow up pretty quickly if you're going to take care of yourself and as well as a parent. I was really impressed with the author's ability to write and how she was able to show like a codependency between mother and daughter, because obviously daughter needs a mother in order to, go to school, have food, all of, the basics. Yeah. And then like Mia ends up being kind of the caretaker for her mother too. And she has to like tiptoe around because her mom can kill her at any point because she's faster, stronger, doesn't know her limits, basically.
Right.
And the internal monologue we get from Mia is just so relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds really awesome.
Yeah. And, I was actually very impressed because when you pick up a blind date with a book, you kind of don't really expect much because it's like, well, shit, I don't know what this is about.
Yeah.
It could be bad. It could be great. I wouldn't say it's like my favorite book of all time, but I was impressed. I can also tell that the author did put effort into researching. It takes place in Tucson, Arizona. So like you get the incredible heat, you get saguaros, you get Banner Health even. Like she knew the hospitals that are down there.
That's crazy. Is she not from Arizona?
I think she's Southern California. I think she's like a screenwriter and playwright.
Cool.
Yeah, which, helps with being able to write.
Yeah.
I do think it is worth the read, especially if you're looking for something that's like a coming of age with a socially inept lead. It is a lesbian love story too, so if that's something that you're interested in. But if you're looking also for an allegory of addiction that puts strain on family dynamics, this is also your book. I didn't find the love interest to be, because a lot of the times, because you and I are straight females, so reading stories that are outside of our sexual preference is sometimes, like, I feel like an outsider sometimes, but with this I didn't feel as like looking in, I guess. It was just very like, yeah,
like, I shouldn't be reading, this isn't meant for me, like I'm not the target audience. You didn't have that.
No, not at all.
That's great. That's good writing.
Yeah, right. So
sure.
I did very well with Pride Month, by the way.
You did. I got nothing.
No, Ghost Wall.
Oh yeah, Ghost Wall. Ghost Wall did have. Yeah, that's right. So
yeah,
I celebrated.
We're allies.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I've read it. It's come up. There's books I want to read that I just don't look for it. But if it happens, it happens. And if
exactly, yeah,
if it's well written, then it'll be good things.
So what are you currently reading?
I am reading A Court of Silver Flames, and I'm almost finished.
What do you mean?
Okay, so it's hard because I bought the series, and when you buy the entire series on Kindle, it tells you the percentage into the series, which 1% takes quite a while. I'm at like 84.
Oh, okay.
But I've been reading, I mean, I literally fell asleep reading last night. That's not a thing I do. Put it down. No, I opened my eyes after I probably wasn't asleep long, and it's sitting there, and I'm like, I'm literally reading this till I fall asleep. I don't want to stop.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, I'm getting there. I'll be done before.
Oh, I'm not worried about that. I was just
yeah, I'm getting there. What about you? What are you reading?
So, I put a hold on Lonesome Dove by Larry McCartney or McMurtry. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's a cowboy story. I put a hold on it on Libby, and it came up. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well just start now.
You're reading another Western?
Yeah.
I love it. Is it good so far?
So far, yeah. It's it's not as corny as what Passing Through that I read. It's actually like a Western. Well, not that Passing Through isn't a Western, but like I feel like this is gonna be a little more gritty instead of just like a typical Western story,
Little Tombstone going on.
Yeah.
Such a good movie though. For real. Anyways, yeah, that's fun. You're reading you started reading these, and your father enjoys Westerns, right?
He does. Well, he doesn't read, but he does enjoy like Western movies. He's been watching a lot of Yellowstone lately. I've watched a bit too. Yeah.
I've never watched it, but my dad wants to. I've seen like clips. It looks interesting enough.
It's not bad.
Watched it.
It's very dramatic though.
Okay.
It's almost like a what do you call it? Yeah, almost. Yeah. Like this family goes through, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Okay, so that sounds fun. But okay, so July's read with SMB will be A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. So if you want to read with us, I will give you guys the synopsis. So in this romantic fantasy of manners from New York Times bestselling author Alison Saft, a magical dressmaker commissioned for a royal wedding finds herself embroiled in scandal when a gossip columnist draws attention to her undeniable chemistry with the groom. I'm going to try my best to say this name.
I think it's Neem.
Neem.
That one. Poncho hair?
Poncho?
Nimina.
Neem has
Neem.
never let herself along for more. The magic in her blood that lets her stitch emotions and memories into fabrics is the same magic that will eventually kill her. Determined to spend the little time she has left guaranteeing a better life for her family, Neem jumps at the chance to design the wardrobe for a royal wedding in the neighboring kingdom of Avaland. Avaland is while young nobles attend candlelit balls and elegant garden parties, unrest brews amid the working class. Groom himself, Carmine, is prickly, abrasive, and begrudgingly being dragged to the altar as a political pawn. when Neem and Kit grow closer, an unlikely friendship blossoms into something more. Until an anonymous columnist starts buzzing about their chemistry, promising to leave them alone only if Neem helps uncover the royal family secret. The rot at the heart of Avalan runs deep, but exposing it could risk the future she never let herself dream of, and a love she never thought possible. Transporting readers to a Regency England-inspired fantasy world, A Fragile Enchantment is a sweeping romance threaded with intrigue, unforgettable characters, and a love story for the ages. Doesn't that sound whimsy and fun?
It does. I think we both were talking about it last Thirsty. I'm so excited.
So fun. I don't know. I remember reading this and the synopsis and I'm like, oh, that's like really cool magic. And I'm like, oh, I bet this is so
like, it's so sweet. Yeah.
This is fun. Oh yeah.
It is 373 pages and on Kindle Unlimited, so if you want to read along with us, please do. I always appreciate when others read it with us.
Yeah.
But I think that wraps up everything for us today. We would love to hear from you, our dear listeners. If you have any recommendations, just hit us up on social media or leave a comment on this YouTube video. That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, thank you to all of you for joining us on this literary adventure. That's all for today. I'm your co-host, Stephanie.
And I'm Beck.
And this has been Novelty with S&B. See you in the next chapter.